My name is Alara Whitmore, and this is the story of how I almost married the wrong man. Until a letter written in lavender ink led me back to the only person who had ever truly seen me. I'm telling it now, years later, from a sunlit kitchen, overlooking the cliffs of Seabrook Haven, Maine, where the tide rolls in like a steady heartbeat and the past finally feels gentle. It began on a heavy Thursday in early April, 3 weeks before my wedding to Nathaniel Ashford, heir to Ashford Developments, owner of half the new waterfront skyline in Portland, and a man my mother described as security in a tailored suit. The call came from my grandmother, Isolde Marin, who lived alone in a weathered cedar cottage at the far edge of Seabrook Haven, where the ocean pressed against black rocks and gulls cried like old ghosts. Her voice was thin but unwavering. "Come alone on Saturday," she said. "Don't tell your mother. Bring the blue scarf I knitted you when you were 16. I was standing in my bridal boutique in downtown Portland, lace swatches draped over my arm, a seamstress kneeling at my hem. I said yes without asking why. I had learned, over 29 years, that when my grandmother spoke in specifics, it meant the tide was about to turn. Saturday arrived wrapped in silver fog. I drove the coastal highway with the windows cracked, salt air cutting through the perfume of wedding roses that still clung to my coat. Seabrook Haven appeared the way it always did, quiet, stubborn, beautiful. Weather-beaten houses leaned into the wind. Lobster traps stacked like promises along the docks. My grandmother's cottage sat at the highest point, white shutters faded to gray, lavender bushes lining the narrow stone path. She was waiting on the porch, a wool shawl over her shoulders despite the mild air, a small wooden box resting on her lap. "You're early," she said. "You always were when it mattered." Inside, the cottage smelled of lemon oil and sea salt. The fireplace crackled softly. On the kitchen table lay 3 envelopes and a folded map of the coastline. "Sit," she told me. So I did. "Elara," she began, "you are about to marry a man who admires you. That is not the same as loving you." I smiled automatically. "Nathaniel loves me. He built a life with me. He bought the condo overlooking the harbor. He planned the honeymoon in Santorini. He bought you," she corrected gently. "There is a difference." I felt heat rise in my chest. "Grandma, please. The invitations are out. The venue is booked. Everyone expectations are heavy things," she said. "They sink people." Then she slid the wooden box across the table. Inside were letters tied with blue ribbon and a photograph I hadn't seen in years. It was taken on Crescent Beach the summer I turned 17. I was barefoot, hair wild from wind, laughing at something just out of frame. In the corner of the photo, half visible, was a boy with sun-brown skin and steady green eyes. Rowan Hale, the lighthouse keeper's son. My first love. He left for California at 19 to study marine biology. We promised to write. We did, for a while. Then my mother intercepted one of his letters, said long-distance love was childish. That ambition mattered more than poetry. Soon after, Nathaniel appeared at a charity gala, all confidence and curated charm. My mother called him destiny. Rowan's letters stopped coming, or so I thought. "These are yours," my grandmother said. "Every single one." She untied the ribbon. Dozens of envelopes, all addressed to me in Rowan's unmistakable handwriting. My hands trembled as I opened the first. "Alara, if your silence means goodbye, I will honor it. But if it means someone is standing between us, I need you to know I would cross any ocean for you. I never stopped loving you." The letter was dated 8 years ago. There were more. He had written from Monterey, from research vessels in the Pacific, from a storm-battered station in Alaska. Every letter carried the same steady devotion. I looked up, breath unsteady. Why didn't I get these? "Your mother believed security was safer than love," Grandma said quietly. "She thought she was protecting you." From what? From uncertainty. From choosing a man with salt in his hair instead of money in his pockets. I pressed the letters to my chest. The room felt too small, too full. Rowan returned to Seabrook Haven last month," she said. "He's leading the coastal restoration project. He bought the old lighthouse." My pulse thundered. "Why are you telling me now?" "Because you deserve the truth before you promise your life to someone else." She reached across the table, her fingers cool around mine. "Love should feel like coming home, not like signing a contract." I drove straight to the lighthouse. The fog had thinned, revealing a sweep of restless ocean. The lighthouse stood tall against the gray sky, paint freshly restored, windows gleaming. My heart pounded as I climbed the winding path. Rowan was outside, sleeves rolled, hands stained with paint. He looked up at the sound of gravel under my tires. Time did something strange then. It folded. He was older, broader in the shoulders, a faint scar along his jaw, but his eyes, those steady green eyes, were unchanged. "Elora," he breathed, as if my name were both question and answer. I held up the stack of letters. "I never got them." He went still. "I wrote every month." "I know." My voice shook. "I read them today." Wind whipped around us. The sea crashed below. "I'm getting married in 3 weeks," I said. He closed his eyes briefly. "Then why are you here?" "Because I needed to see if this us was real or just memory." He stepped closer, cautious, as if I might vanish. "It was always real for me. I've built a career on studying tides because they reminded me of you. Constant, powerful, pulling me home. Tears blurred my vision. Nathaniel offers stability, a future without risk." Rowan's expression softened. "And what do you want, Elara? Not what your mother wants, not what the town expects. You." The word slipped out before fear could stop it. "I want you." Silence stretched between us, charged and fragile. "I don't want to ruin your life," he said quietly. "You won't," I whispered. Marrying someone I don't love will. That night, I returned to Portland and faced Nathaniel in our glass-walled condo overlooking the harbor lights. He listened without interrupting, jaw tight, hands clasped behind his back. "So this is about some fisherman from your childhood?" he asked finally. "He's a marine biologist." Nathaniel exhaled sharply. "I offer you everything. Except your heart," I said. And I tried to ignore that. I truly did. For a moment, I saw something almost vulnerable in his eyes. Then it hardened. "If you walk away now, there will be consequences. Social. Financial. My mother will be furious. I know." My voice surprised me with its steadiness. "But I can't marry you." The engagement ended that night. The fallout was swift. My mother didn't speak to me for weeks. Friends whispered. Deposits were lost. Headlines in small society columns speculated. But beneath the noise was an unfamiliar, exhilarating peace. 3 days later, I returned to Seabrook Haven with 2 suitcases and the blue scarf my grandmother had knitted. Rowan met me at the dock. No grand speeches. No dramatic music. Just his hand reaching for mine. "You're sure?" he asked. I nodded. I've never been more sure of anything. Life with Rowan was not polished. The lighthouse needed repairs. The restoration project demanded long hours. We argued about paint colors and grocery lists. But every night, we watched the sun sink into the Atlantic, shoulders touching, silence comfortable and complete. A year later, we married on Crescent Beach at dawn. No society pages. No crystal chandeliers. Just lavender woven into my hair, my grandmother smiling from the front row, and Rowan's voice breaking as he promised to choose me every day. Not because it was expected, but because it was true. My mother came, too. She hugged me tightly afterward and whispered, "I only wanted you safe." "I know," I told her. "But love is the safest place I've ever been." Now, as I stand in our kitchen overlooking the restless sea, our daughter asleep upstairs, I sometimes reread those old letters. Not with regret, but with gratitude. They remind me that real love does not vanish when blocked. It waits, patient, as the tide. And every time the lighthouse beam sweeps across the dark water, steady and unwavering, I remember that choosing love is not the reckless option. It is the brave one.